Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for February 14th through 18th, 2022. Happy Valentine's Day. It's a sweet day because today is the very first conjunction of Mars and Venus. Just in the last few days, they've been getting closer and closer, and they will stay within a degree of each other for almost 5 weeks, all the way up to the equinox. So we're having an extended Valentine's Day with Mars and Venus dancing together in the sky. Very rare for them to stay together so close. It just happens to be the timing they meet when Venus is still coming out of retrograde shadow, not quite back to her regular speed. So really, really powerful. And the other thing that's happening today is that Mercury is moving over, or has moved over, into the sign of Aquarius for the third and final shift, the third and final pass. This Mercury retrograde happening 3 times over the cusp of Capricorn Aquarius has got to be speaking to moving over into the Aquarian age, into the Aquarian energy. So as Mercury moves back over today, in these next few days, as Mercury is not out of its retrograde shadow yet, though, because it took a retrograde at 11 degrees. And so until it gets back to 11 degrees Aquarius, it's still in its shadow. But this particular couple of this week or so, the Mercury goes out of shadow on the 24th. And so this period of time is very powerful as Mercury just moved back into Aquarius, this third and final time. Mercury is about our mental perspective and how we see things and our intellectual understanding, our mind. So we can get some perspective here. It's like, whoa, what a journey the last couple of months of this retrograde season, starting all the way back in December of 2021. The second week of December is when Venus and Pluto started to come together, and Venus started to head into that retrograde energy. So, wow. And so here we are. And can we step back? Can we give ourselves room to breathe and understand that we've been through an incredibly intense couple of months? And when you go through these intense times, you have to kind of just get through. And on the other hand, it's almost like this recapitulation and a trying to heal and resolve. We can feel all these old timelines but that feeling of having to go back to some very uncomfortable feelings and vulnerabilities, and feeling like, this Mercury retrograde along with Venus retrograde, because Venus retrograde brings energies of, I don't know what I want, and I don't, just kind of insecurities and vulnerabilities and uncertainties, and then put that with a Mercury retrograde, which is our mind, and it can make you feel like you're going totally crazy, right? But what this is, all combined with like weeks and weeks of Pluto conjunctions, it's pointing to one thing, and this is the death of the ego, of the false self, the breaking down. We've had all this intense Pluto energy as Pluto comes to this culmination of its time in Capricorn. But with this retrograde and our personal planet spending weeks with Pluto and Capricorn, it's this coming home into our very everyday life, this breakdown, and into our psyche. And indeed, it's what's going on in the world too. Like, we're about to find out that so much stuff we've been told is a lie. And when that happens, it's, we've all, as supernova souls, maybe this is our great preparation, for your role in this time. This is a big energy of the Leo full moon we're moving into. The reluctant leaders coming forward, coming out from behind the wings. And as I say that, I can kind of feel an anxiety in my stomach, energy of supernova souls, knowing that they've always been moving towards a bigger role, a bigger experience. And yet subtle anxieties and fear programming come up as you consider that reality. But what's happening is that I guess the message is that because you've had those experiences, supernova soul, that have been so hard, but the empath narcissist situation, so that you could see and understand the predatory nature of this world that we live in. Those experiences were so painful and yet so important for who you are and what your role right now, because you have then experienced being gaslit, right? And being gaslit, if you're familiar with the term gaslighting, it comes from this old movie where the man was like messing with the gaslights and then telling his wife that they weren't flickering or they weren't going on and off, right? So questioning your reality, making you question your sanity and reality. And this is exactly, now it's all about manipulation, right? So these are the classic steps of brainwashing and cult techniques, right? To break down who you were in order to try to build you up in what they want you to be, which is completely dependent upon them for your whole reality, right? It's all control based. And this is our whole reality we live in. And we have no idea how much we've been slaves to a control based system. But you've had that experience. So you are a one up here, right? You got this in your back pocket, because as the masses realize how gaslit they've been and lied to and manipulated, it's not going to be pretty. But you've already gone through that, right? And this is part of having this who you are as a soul is from the moment you came to Earth, control energies. You know, a predatory control-based system is going to find those that have the power and try to take it from them and use it, right? So now is it all the pieces putting together, like making sense of who you are as a soul and why you've gone through what you've gone through? Because as much as supernova souls, I know it's been super, just really hard time and very confusing, and this ego death experience and this preparation for something you don't know what, and then no validation, no support. But wow, are you perfectly prepared to play a very important role in these crucial times in our evolution? And so that's powerful, because this Leo full moon is speaking to an energy that we haven't really had. So we moved into year of the tiger, and the tiger has this action energy, this going for it, this courageous energy. But we haven't had that like fire in the planets, right? So this Leo full moon is like a little burst of fire. And Leo is about shining and expressing the truth of who you are, right? But you couldn't do this in your time in Earth for the most part, because you had to hide who you were so they didn't come and steal your power or kill you or whatever, all the things that have happened. And so we're learning how to be in our light and our power. Again, we're learning that we even have it. And this Leo full moon is like extracting out the energy of the reluctant leader of the supernova soul, right? The fear of being seen, because it's never been safe for you. And now you're supposed to just step on stage and you don't even know who you are, what you're doing. It's very uncomfortable and yet really, really beautiful. So now this full moon in Leo happens at 28 degrees, and that's at the end, the last couple degrees of the sign. So that has an energy of completion. And we talked about how at the end and the beginning of the signs, there's a bloom, right? So it's a big bloom of this Leo energy, and the moon has moved into Leo today. So we're feeling the energy of this full moon, and it's kind of this culmination, Mars and Venus coming together. Boom. Very powerful acceleration. Even though we're still in retrograde season too. So we still got this kind of juxtaposition energy. But big marker today with Mercury moving over into Aquarius, and then amplifying the energies of this full moon in Leo, because Leo is opposite Aquarius, right? So the full moon is when the sun is in Aquarius and the moon is opposite, and that makes the full light. This full moon happening at 28 degrees. Now 28, the end of Leo. So it's like a completion of the Leo energies. This is saying you got to shine now. This is a crucial, we can't go without your light, right? Yeah, we got ego breakdown, we got total destruction of all the structures of our lives. We've got all this rubble to sift through as the world comes into how much they've been lied to. But this is about you and what you have to offer, and why is it still sitting inside of you, stewing away, making you sick and anxious. It's this beautiful potential the world needs. So 2 and 8, it's like the end of the sign. But 2 and 8, when you add them up in numerology, makes 10, which is a 1. And so it's a new start, right? So it's an end and a new start of our expressing our light, right? Like putting to rest all of those stories that have kept us from our full expression. Now, this is a crucial energy in moving forward. Okay. So what this means is that the full moon in Leo, the sun in Aquarius, moon in Leo, is at 28 degrees. The nodes of the moon are in Taurus and Scorpio, the other fixed signs at 27 degrees. So this is a grand fixed cross that's happening with this full moon. And it's like fixed energy is about completion and establishing. And so it's like we're establishing a new start. The fixed signs are the signs of the leaders, of those, of people who, it's an energy of stability and holding space, and kind of like the archangels, those energies of what holds our reality together, right? So it's kind of like we're fixing in and putting down a pin on a new reality, on a new timeline. And so this fixed cross is saying everything about what we're doing and where we're going and what we need to do in order to move forward, because the fixed cross is happening between the nodes of the moon. And so the North Node in Taurus is about how are we going to get to move forward? And it's speaking of this wealth revolution, especially with Uranus and Taurus, and the North Node and Uranus coming together this summer. So it's like wealth revolution, right? This new timeline that just got planted, and established involves a wealth revolution. And that's different for each of us. Our individual uncovering of our wealth, a revaluation of what matters to us, the whole world coming home to like what really matters. It's got to be involved in this process, and a new system that can support a different valuation in our society. And so that's really powerful. So it's saying like, all right, this new timeline, wealth revolution, we got that. All right. And then the South Node is what's holding us back from the past. And in Scorpio, it's clearly like, all right, we can't take the shadowy shit with us. We can't go on pretending that we don't have very dark satanic ritual abuse happening on our planet, right? And cannibalism and like, we can't do it. That doesn't get to come with us, And so the only way forward is to clean up, to get out, reveal exposure, huge exposure, because we've had 2 full weeks. We had 2 full weeks of Black Moon Lilith squared Neptune, really about spiritual exposure, like the light coming in so strong, the Christ consciousness that is just exposing everything hidden. Nothing can remain hidden, So that's the energy of that. And then we've got the Aquarius sun in Aquarius, and the sun is like our role we're playing, and in the Aquarian age, right? Who are we in the Aquarian age? It's about a hooking in, right? So it's like we talk about how we're like waiting for something to happen and moving into this, but we ourselves have a whole new identity in this new energy. So we got to feel into what that is. And it has so much to do with that, where the moon is Leo. So, but the moon is our emotional self. So we're kind of looking at the emotions coming up. I could see this a lot because it's almost like a recapitulation, a lot of the energies, this Leo expression thing. And then it brings up all of the energies of low self-worth and dynamics and fears around being seen, like we talked about. And so it's like that Venus retrograde is still working in us, and maybe feeling a lot of emotions around where we haven't expressed ourselves. And that's kind of how we felt over the last couple of years with that South Node Sagittarius, a lot of pressure to get on our spiritual path, you know? And so this Leo full moon is like, feels pressure from the light and dropping all of our fears, all of our contracts, all of our, when you take your power back, there's quite a backlash typically, right? And then it shows you where you've been, the systems and the relationships around you haven't been equal or balanced or based on karma, right? You start to take your power back, and then it's like you're going to get mudslung at you. And this is part of being a leader too. It's part of shining your light. You got to be like brave enough to know that there's going to be mudslingers, and it's just how it is. And it's hard for sensitive supernova soul, right? I mean, it's a beautiful set of skills and gifts you have, but it's not an easy time, because everything's worked against your light, and you've been so programmed. We've all been so programmed to turn it down and disconnect from it. And now it's like, oh, no, come on, you guys, to get on stage. And it's like, what? So this is the big message coming through right now. And I think has to do with the sun in Aquarius coming to the end degrees of Aquarius. The sun will be moving over into Pisces on the 18th. So just this last week, few days of the sun in Aquarius, and it's like that full moon in Leo. Okay, what's your role, and are you going to play it? Like, come on, right? So with the new energies, with this new timeline that's being established, we've talked about how it's a very different way of creating and co-creating. And so, but we've had everything kind of working against the light and the truth of what we've been trying to bring to earth, and that's a really big shift. So we have to start practicing this co-creation, this working with supportive energies, feeling like we're on a team of energies and our highest self, and all of the people around us. It's like setting a vibrational intention, and it's like, all right, now everything, but we have to go from where it felt like everything was not only not supporting us, but deliberately working against us. A lot of our relationships in our family dynamics and all that for lifetimes, deliberately working against, making sure, a lot of times they were programmed to fear our power, just like we were, right? It's like, hey, turn that down. Remember, you don't want to get burned again, right? You don't want to stick out. Come on, turn it down. That's what our family members have done to us for the most part. This is just part of the supernova story, right? And then we're supposed to just be comfortable with that, right? And so it's going against, but it's a shift, into the Aquarian age and these different energies where it's like, it's no longer that fight against 3D. It's just like, oh yeah, we're doing this. And, that whole weird picture of the Rubik's Cube, but going into the inner workings, right? Instead of trying to work from outside 3D, like, well, this is what I want to happen, and I'm going to make a list, and I'm going to follow through to that. And it's like, no, go to the inner workings outside of the matrix and come to this place of understanding the fluidity of this new relationship to time, where we take an action and it changes. It's like bubbling and rippling, and we're aware of that. It's been like that before, but we haven't been aware. We haven't been able to work with those energies. So anyway, but it's a big transition to go from everything feeling like it's working against you to now receiving and co-creating with supportive energies. So we got to get used to this. And this is the message. It's like getting used to helpful energies. Now, what came through around this is to notice when it happens. Take your attention off of the blocking, because that's still going on, and we're coming out of retrograde, and shit is so wonky and weird, right? Because we're existing in multiple timelines and frequencies. But when we affirm and confirm that highest timeline, that ideal timeline from the inner workings, and when we can recognize, oh, I could feel there was a little glimpse of this, like this reciprocal, energetic dance, right? We've been so stuck in action, reaction, karma, rewards and punishment. Even if we don't buy into that religious stuff, we still have been so programmed with it, and we don't even realize we're living from that place. And so what is it like to, this is a powerful message that came through Rudolf Steiner's work, talking about like those things that we so call negative karma or whatever. That's all this balancing of energies, right? And it's a long and involved story because there's karma that's like, oh, now you have to replay and revisit and experience what you made somebody else feel like, right? And that makes sense. But supernova souls are often like, what in the heck did I do to deserve this karma? Because, and so there's this other karma dynamic of karma where those that have oppressed you are going to continue to come and play that role until you can stand up for yourself, say no, and take your power back. So that's a different kind of karma. It's opposite, same opposite kind of thing. So, but what Rudolf Steiner said was one of his most important fundamental teachings, I think. And because he talked about how the positive blessings are not connected to karma, right? And we've all played into this rewards and punishment. Our God is not a punishing God or a rewarding God. It's just consciousness. It's just pure love. There's no judgment there. It's it's like the sun shining on everyone equally. And so can we step out of that programming? This is a lot what this Capricorn, Pluto explosion in Capricorn is about, the old authority structures, which this is this bullshit Father God stuff that even though we totally don't buy into that, we've been playing it out in 3D. And so, then we're in a place where we need to perform or do something in order to get what we want, right? And that's how we got so trapped in this earth slave ship, whatever is going on here. And so that wealth revolution includes a complete rearranging inside out, flip of our relationship to punishments and rewards. And then look at that relationship of punishment and rewards to value system, money, wealth. And isn't that interesting? Because supernova souls have felt constantly punished for you, not even something you did, just because of you existing as who you are, right? And so it's like punishment. And to really understand that the blessings are not, that's not the energy. They just come. They don't come because of a reason. It's just the abundant blessings of the Spirit and God and Source, right? And so when you have that moment of helpful energies, because it's happening, right? Grab a hold of that energy, be like, oh, wait, is that what she's talking about? I'm kind of feeling into, getting used to these helpful energies that are like, and sometimes the helpful energies, of course, they come in a synchronistic type of way. And so you have to rearrange. You have to be like, oh, well, this isn't what I thought, but I can feel a resonance. So I'm going to explore that. And then when we can take those moments and feel into that and be like, oh, that's what it feels like. And then more and more bring our vibration to the energy of that highest timeline. Now, what's going on with this full moon in Leo activation? And then we've got and we've got this next period of time of Venus and Mars together, dancing together, Vesta coming into the mix, the sacred fire of purpose, spiritual purpose, and Pluto in Capricorn. Now, that's an interesting note because this full moon happening at 28 degrees Leo is in an inconjunct relationship to Pluto across the way and one sign over. So that's really powerful because we've got this grand fixed cross and then Pluto at the same degree. And Pluto's making a trine with the north node, sextile to the south node, and inconjunct to the full moon. And it's like this energy of something, an inconjunct is like there needs to be an adjustment, right? And so the adjustment that needs to be made is everything about that's been going on in this double retrograde with all these Pluto conjunctions, the breaking down of those structures that are no longer serving. And this is how we turn the wheel of time. But the other energy that's going on, because we've got that grand fixed cross, this full moon, Mercury just coming out of that retrograde shadow, but Venus and Mars coming together. This is a magnetic energy. This is speaking to, oh, we take the glove off. We flipped it around. We turned our world inside out, and we got to be ready and flexible to start working with those new energies. If we're attached the way it's been, that's what's coming up right now. It's like, as things start to move in the creative energies in this different way of, then we find our own resistance, right? Like, once the resistance out there, then we have to face our own conditioning and resistance. And this is a lot of what this is about. But this inconjunct to Pluto, this adjustment that needs to be made in the structures of our lives and the structure of everything, our value system, our mind, our reality. But the effect of this inside out new timeline, establishing this new energy, is this coming together. It's like supernova souls, part of the energy of studying this, the story and the messages that have come through around supernova souls, and then kind of trying to work with this energy of like a repelling, so trying to, here's like a membership group of non-joiner people, loner, they're like never felt a part of it because they were always different. And so anyway, but then we have this fear programming around coming together and bringing our energy together, fear of our own power. And then, if we're scared of our own potential, and then tools are going to be like, that energy is off the charts. Right? So there's so much that's kept supernova souls, and an outside energy of resistance too, like 6 feet apart. They don't want us bringing our energy fields together and activating each other. But what's happening is that supernova souls are still activating, right? They're more comfortable in these new energies. It's like the cream is rising to the top, and then nothing can stop that magnetic pull of bringing together your soul tribe, your soul mates, your twin flame, whatever the story is there. But there's a huge magnetic pull, a flip of the polarity of going from repelling each other to, oh, nothing can stop you from finding each other. You came into this world together as a group, right? So, but we got to get used to that, and we got to feel comfortable. And so what's coming up is all of our own resistance and the walls that we've built. So it's such a dynamic and interesting time, and super important to take advantage of these energies. So I hope you can consider joining me for that Leo full moon activation. That's going to be tomorrow, Tuesday the 15th at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And that is leading up to about 12 hours or so before the exact time of the full moon, or maybe 15 hours. And so that gives us a chance to really establish in these energies and hold this frequency vibration and be present and accounted for energetically as a placeholder of this optimal timeline. Because that definitely feels like the energy, and it's an energy of inwardly saying yes to your bigger potential with this Leo energy. So I hope you'll consider joining that full moon activation. The information to sign up for that is below. If you can't make the live time, it never works in every time zone, but know that we're working outside of time. So that replay is there for you. It's at the same link as sign up, and it's available immediately after the event. So catch the replay. You'll get, when you bring your energy and you make your offering, then you're poised to receive the energies, the messages, and the support you need. We're making these powerful energetic connections between supernova souls and paving the way for this new chapter together. So I hope to see you there at that Leo full moon activation or on the next update. Until then, thank you so much, supernova souls, for being with me, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.